Well, guys, we're half through series one, and so far it's been a roller coaster of a series. I've given 5 stories out of 6, 5 stars. But will the long game keep up this momentum? Let's find out. The Long Game, written by Russell T Davies, and is of course episode 7 of series 1 of Doctor Who. The Long Game tells the story of Adam comes with the Doctor and Rose, this time from Dalek. I don't know why, but he just comes along for reasons, and they arrive on Satellite 5 in the year 200,000, where the population of Earth is 96 billion. But Satellite 5 has a sinister secret. It's run by the editor and his boss, the mighty Jagrafess, a creature that survives in cold conditions and can be killed by heat. So it's up to the Doctor and Rose to solve this mystery, and will Adam decide to stay with the Doctor and Rose or return to his normal life? So The Long Game has never been a particularly beloved episode, and after seeing it again, I can see why. This episode has always been one of my least favourite Russell T Davies stories in general, not just this series. I mean, Russell T Davies really didn't try very hard with this story. This episode, it feels like complete filler and completely forgettable in comparison to the previous 6 great stories of this series. This is a massive step down in quality, but let's begin with some of the good aspects of this episode. For one thing, the production design is pretty good. Satellite 5 looks spectacular visually, and it's interesting to see the Earth would look like in the future by the year 200,000. And Simon Pegg as the editor was pretty entertaining and gave a decent performance as the editor. I mean, we rarely see Simon Pegg as the villain, but he surprised me. I would have thought you were mad casting Simon Pegg at first, but he did a good job. And the mighty Jagrafess, the Jagrafess was a great design. He was intimidating and scary as hell when he actually was on screen. I'll get to that later. But that's pretty much all the good I have to say about this episode, because this episode, what a major disappointment. I mean, even Christopher Eccleston and Billie Piper, as good as they are, they weren't enough to save this story. For starters, there's little to nothing happens in this episode. It's so boring most of the time. I mean, there feels like a lack of threat, and that should not be with a creature like the Jagrafess on the loose, but the Jagrafess barely gets any screen time. He's only in 2 to 3 scenes, and that's it. The story is so uninteresting as well. It's not compelling. We don't learn anything new about the Doctor nor Rose, and it's unclear what the editor and the Jagrafess's plan or their motivations are. In fact, the editor and the Jagrafess, they're pretty much a business villain. That's the 3rd business villain in this series, Russell. You can do better than that. You could get away with Cassandra and the Slitheen. They were alright, but not with the Jagrafess. The editor and the Jagrafess need a new and clear motivation. And their motivations felt like it kept changing when the editor wanted to get the key to the TARDIS through Adam, and just Rose was... I love Rose, but she's completely wasted in this episode, as she does absolutely nothing. What purpose did she serve to the plot of this episode? None at all, which is so disappointing, particularly how Russell loves Rose. And but the biggest issue with this episode was Adam. Why was Adam in this episode? He does nothing. All that happens with him is that we see the inside of his brain, and through him, the editor discovers more about the Doctor and plans to steal the key to the TARDIS, but that's it. Adam only exists to be a potential boyfriend and love interest, but Rose already has a boy. She has Mickey, so there's no chance of that happening. Why Russell felt the need to bring Adam back in this story, I don't know, since he just gets dropped off at home in at the end of this episode, and we never see him again in the entire show, so he was completely pointless. And the ending of this episode's so underwhelming, so anticlimactic. I mean, it doesn't help the fact that the Doctor and Rose don't get to the Editor or the Jagrafess until literally the third act of the episode. By the end of the episode, the Jagrafess is literally defeated so instantly and without much tension at all. Even when the Doctor and Rose are captured, because it's the third act, you know they're going to escape, you know they're going to be alright, and the Jagrafess is just immediately killed by that woman, the supporting character, the girl. I forgot to mention her. She turns up the heat and the Jagrafess explodes and the Doctor and Rose are free, but that's it. While that girl, she was a decent character, but even she didn't do much. She was only there to save the day and turn up the heat, but that's all the purpose she served. So yeah, and they drop Adam off back at his home with a mechanism in his head that can show his brain, and that's all the closure we get to Adam's character. Nice knowing you, Adam. So yeah, The Long Game is by far the weakest story of Series 1. And it's not hard to see why. Well, it's not a terrible episode, and far from the worst story of the revived series. It is one of Russell T Davies's weaker writings. It just he really didn't try nearly as hard as he could have done with this story. This episode, considering it was written by Russell T Davies, a legendary writer who gave us the best stories of the revived series, who brought Doctor Who back to the 21st century, he could have done better, much better. And by the end of the episode, it just leaves little to no impact. If you talk about Series 1 of Doctor Who, I doubt The Long Game will be the first episode that comes to your mind.
I give The Long Game 2 stars out of 5.
But thankfully that's the worst we'll see of Series 1, so join me next time, guys, as I review Father's Day, because that's when Series 1 goes back to awesome. Well, I love you guys, thank you all for watching. What did you think of The Long Game? Please comment and like this video and subscribe. Please follow me on Twitter and on my Google+, and I'll see you all next time. Bye, guys.